The Rob Dibble Show.
Well, pretty much every day now someone goes on the IL in Major League Baseball. Brian Bayo, a couple days ago, he went to the IL. I mean, Casas, we told you at the beginning of the week, IL with the broken, fractured rib. They don't even know the time because some of these injuries, honestly, the last time I heard of a dude hurting his rib cage was Sammy Sosa supposedly sneezed and fractured a rib.
Well, he's a big sneezer.
Right? Am I right, Henry?
Yeah, I remember this.
Henry Bieniemy is with us with John Ashmead doing the video and stuff.
And he's a very aggressive sneezer.
But I never heard – honestly, though, I have recently sneezed hard enough to where it hurt. But I was like, you really have to blow out and maybe hold it in or whatnot. But I don't know how Casas did it. But here's the thing.
So they say.
Well, here's the thing. And let's talk about this here on the Daily Pickle. If you watch the way these gentlemen swing, if you watch the way the pitchers throw, everything is max effort. There is no – and it bothers me when I watch let's just take the Oakland A's. You got 6 guys hitting below 200.
Oh, yeah.
Guy throws it away. And I actually just saw this in the Indians versus the Red Sox. You had a lefty on
Guardians,
lefty.
sir.
Guardians, excuse me. Lefty on lefty, and you teach your lefties, and I was a lefty hitter, to go the other way with a lefty, especially a hard thrower. He's going to throw your fastballs away, and you're just trying to dump it the other way. You don't take a full swing. You don't step hard towards hitting a home run. You just literally try to make contact, and that's where we have a problem. We have all of these high-velocity ranches. We have all of these swing doctors now out there with all these contraptions and stuff. And what they aren't teaching you is the art of hitting, the art of pitching. Pitching is about changing speeds. It's not throwing a changeup 93 to 95. That's not a changeup. That's just a circle fastball. That's not – so the difference is when I was taught to change speeds with my fastball, it's like what you heard with Jonathan Papelbon the other day.
I was going to say that.
It's a fastball, 4-seam grip, 2-seam grip. You can throw it 3 different ways on each one. So that should be 6 pitches for you if you're doing it right. What's happening is now they're saying, hey, when you throw a fastball, throw it 100. When you throw a changeup, throw it 92 to 93. The people that are giving these instructions are not qualified and should not be giving instruction because at the 12-year-old level, 15-year-old level, we're seeing way more injuries. And people are like, and I just saw this video, and I'm not going to bring up his name, but he is out of the game now because of something he said on the air. So he's a broadcaster, former broadcaster. But he was talking about the difference between 20 years ago and today. The difference with 20 years ago and today is you didn't have social media and you didn't have everybody on YouTube or TikTok putting out videos of what you should be doing. Listen, just because you see it on TikTok or YouTube doesn't mean it's the right way to do things. If you saw somebody telling a football quarterback every throw you should throw, you don't – some are finesse, some are rifles.
I used to have this conversation with quarterbacks, man.
So think about this. You're a wide receiver, and it's a 5-yard pass. You don't need a guy to Brett Favre you to death and throw it 95 miles an hour. Sometimes you just need that guy to lay it in there. That's the difference between when I watch a guy like Patrick Mahomes. That guy, obviously he learned things from his father. He was a baseball pitcher. So sometimes he could sidearm a ball. He flips a ball. Sometimes he throws it left-handed. He does what's necessary to complete the play, which is what we're not doing in baseball anymore. We're not trying to win games. We're not trying to hit with 2 strikes the other way properly. So a lot of baseball IQ is non-existent. You're getting an F in it. And that's what we're seeing. And I truly believe the reason we're seeing so many injuries today, also, this is the biggest pet peeve that I have, especially coaching 15, 16-year-olds. Nobody gets on the ground and stretches anymore. We do dynamic stretching, which is basically walking and stretching at the same time. And I can't stand it because there's so many different things, including your core, your lower back, your stomach muscles. We used to – remember how you used to go over the back and have your toes touch behind your head and behind – I never see that anymore. So nobody does like leg stretches on the ground. Nobody does groin stretches on the ground. Nobody does butterflies on the ground. Nobody does any of that kind of stuff. And even when we did it standing up, where you used to squat down, grab your ankles, press your legs out, and stretch your groin, they don't do any of that kind of stuff. I'm 60 years old. I can still do all of that stuff. So flexibility is a big part of staying injury-free. And the 11 years I was a Red, everything we did was flexibility. Before baseball, are you flexible? Can you stay flexible? It will stave off a lot of injuries. So I think it's more than just not knowing baseball well. It's not knowing your body well and being flexible. And I just saw, guys were going bananas because somebody didn't run out a ground ball. And they said, well, he's got a bad hamstring. We have so many guys with bad hamstrings today. You know why? Because they can't bend over and touch their toes with their legs straight. That's why they have bad hamstrings. So you are a wide receiver. You know all about legs and core and guys overthrowing and things like that. So football and baseball, it all starts with your flexibility and being prepared to play the game. And a lot of that is mental. And the mental part and the physical part is being lost with this high velocity, high risk, high reward kind of stuff and not staying on the field.
Yeah, I think, too, with dynamic stretching, like I try to mix it both now.
I mix it up both. And I'm like, you need to do both.
But even if you are just doing dynamic stretching, I do feel like kids get away with sloughing off on it. Like it's not 100% effort for them.
I can't watch every one of you.
Exactly. And I know. And I don't feel like we do it long enough, whether it's high leg kick, whether it's butt kicks, whether it's high knees, Did
you cool down, though, at the end of practice? Did you do a little stretching?
Yeah.
We always did.
When we were in high school, it was stretching first. When we were in college, it was stretch on your own. We're stretching after.
Yes.
And the stretching after was like a 30-minute sesh. Like, it was long.
Yeah.
And I think, too, that as far as stretching goes, like one or the other, whatever your trainer's telling you to, but if you don't take it serious, you get nothing out of it.
Right.
If you're just doing dynamic stretching and you're not doing it the way you're supposed to be doing it or as long as you're supposed to, you're getting nothing out of it. Just the max effort thing now, I think, is hitting the hitters.
Yeah.
Like with Casas and the swing of the fractured ribs swinging, J.P. Crawford now has an oblique injury. We've seen the big guys.
Listen, Aaron Judge has been struggling since last year with an oblique problem.
LeMahieu just goes on the IL. He fouled one off on his foot during batting practice. That's unfortunate. Cody Bellinger ran into the wall last night in Wrigley, and that hurts.
You should know better, Cody. It's
not been there for a year and a half.
It's not padded, and the ivy has no give.
2 fractured ribs, and he hit his head a little bit. He'll be out.
It happened
for a
to
while.
Eric Davis.
Oh, really?
Ribs
in Wrigley.
At Wrigley.
Yeah.
I was there when Andre Dawson hit his head on the brick, and then the ball hit him in the head.
Oh,
so it was a double whammy.
It's a double whammy.
But getting back to the stretching, I love it. So here's what we used to do with the Reds. So you'd stretch when you got there, and yeah, you didn't have to stretch hard, but you stretched, took batting practice, things like that. But then before we would even warm up for a game, we're stretching again. The players would be stretching it on the floor in front of their lockers, stuff like that. You're always stretching. You're constantly stretching. So in spring training, we would do a lot more running. You're not going to have the time to do it during the season, but we always did a cool down stretch. You should always stretch again and then go hit the shower. So I just think we've gotten away from a lot of the preparation of athletics because we're like, well, I just want to get right into it. Yeah, and you get right into it, and the younger you are, where you realize, like you just said, I can get away with not doing it. And then you start slipping, and then you start saying, "Hey, I don't need to do that. I'm just a pitcher. Why do I need to stretch my legs? Why? Because you have to stretch every inch of your body all the time, and that's a problem. That I think that all of these guys are not stretched out. They'll pick up a bat, they'll go in there, guy starts throwing the ball in there, and then all of a sudden you get some fans in the stand. I got to start launching the ball 500 feet, and then all of a sudden you land on the IL. And you're no good to anybody.
Beyond the IL stories, and more review running amok through baseball.
It's a joke.
Angels last night, or I think it's Orioles. Right?
I think that's the end of the game.
Orioles.
The end of the game on the slide.
They're trying to get
Guy's
a runner in scoring position.
nowhere near out. He's safe, and they call him out.
Angels were down a run. They're trying to get a runner in scoring position. That way they have a single. It was a great throw, but I do agree with you, Dibbs, that looked like he was to be safe. Now they go to review. Kurt, I don't know if I put this audio in or not, if you have this audio, but this is Bally Sports from Los Angeles and their reaction as it unfolded with the review.
He's already popping up. He's already, that foot is on the base.
After review, the call on the field stands. The runner is out.
That is absurd. That is absurd. That's unbelievable. That's a joke. That's a joke. Absolutely ridiculous. It is clear on the replay that Adele was safe, and it is a ridiculous way to end this game. That's garbage.
A lot of people in L.A. just got problems with replays this week. It was LeBron yesterday wanting to know about the replay center in the NBA, and then now the Angels can't get any help from their replay
Adele
center.
in the base running the last week has been hell for him. So he didn't run out one ball, got benched.
Oh.
He got tagged at home, not sliding, and now he gets thrown out at second. He's safe, and he's called out. So that's
baseball God, Susan.
I'll tell you what, man.
Baseball God.
That guy's having some bad luck.
Wow.
That's a bad week.
Wow. Man, we did it yesterday in the UConn game a couple of times. I do think one got overturned.
We're doing it in college?
We're doing it all over the place in college. All over the place.
We're doing replay.
And the one thing, too, that I hate is kids are now getting used to the reaction of putting their hands over their ears like the earmuff replay signal. Immediately, Dibbs. Immediately. Whether it's bang, bang at first.
Weak.
Any tag we're looking at, and it's like, move on with life. You're going to get screwed every once in a while.
We're going to be doing
an
AAU on the Game Changer.
I'm
that's
sure.
just a computer.
I'm sure.
Have you ever seen a Game Changer? So
yeah.
what it does is actually the computer generates it by the information you put in it. There's no video, but these kids are going to be like, go to the Game Changer.
Oh, my gosh.
I was going to talk about Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer's rehabbing right now, and he just threw, and he threw with the computer generated strike zone. And he just said it's complete garbage. And I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, the one thing about the human element is that there's emotion in it. The one thing about a computer and an AI is there's no emotion. And the one thing that makes, sports so wonderful
so true.
Is the interaction between me. I wouldn't have been the player I became without umpires.
Right.
Umpires were giving me tips constantly, okay? And the fact that veteran umpires, when I was a rookie in the league, were saying, hey, you need to be doing this, you can't do that, I'm going to call a balk on that, things like that. It really changed my thought process to I'm at the highest level, and now I have to act accordingly. These guys in the minor leagues, they're able to question any call and question balls and
college,
strikes.
high
and stuff.
school.
Exactly. And the problem with that is there's no interaction between you and an umpire and the emotion about that. And it also is going to take away from the – so let's put it this way. You throw a perfect game at the major league level, right? How about one of those strikes bounced in front of the plate, was called a strike because it hit the zone?
Yeah.
Would you want that?
No.
Do you want that as exactly? Do you want that as a perfect game? Now, a guy that has been with you the entire 27 up, 27 outs, human being watching that, close calls at the bases, all human elements. You want to take that out everywhere, and now you just want to be out. You know how sterile that would be? That I want no part of that. I understand you're trying to get the strike zone correct. That's always been, and it can't be the same for Altuve and Aaron Judge. It just can't be. But there has to be a happy medium. Now you're getting so many strikes that are getting stolen by the new catching technique where you put the glove on the ground, catch it on the way up, and trick the umpire. Okay, eventually they're going to make adjustments, and that's going to be a ball, and then you're going to have to develop a different way
I feel like they already
framing.
are.
Yeah. But again, that is part of the beauty of sport, that you have to adapt and adjust to a human being. How are you going to adapt to a AI strike zone? And Scherzer wants no part of that. And how are you going to be able to – could you imagine if there was AI in the NBA and in college basketball? And
I already hate this replay in basketball.
And you no longer could work referees for calls to go your way.
They'll figure it out somehow, some way.
That's what I'm
Whether
saying.
they talking binary code or something, they're gonna figure out.
Could you imagine
how to work the
Hurley
refs
with
somehow.
no officials?
I have no idea what he
wouldn't be able to. He wouldn't be able to
You would have to have like a fake official out there for him to yell.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But it's the same thing. What do you and I hate about replay in baseball and about you not being able to argue balls and strikes? There's no arguments.
Right.
Like we talked 2 days about Aaron Boone getting tossed out of a game.
Well, did you see Washington last night?
No.
As soon as they lose this game, as soon as the official makes the call, as soon as it goes on, he just takes his notebook and goes back to the dugout. Nothing I can do. I can't fight the robots and the invisible man that they're going to point to. Like, why did you call it? Well, the invisible man told us that that's what we did.
Did you see the White Sox pitcher last night?
No.
He threw to second base and there was no one on second base.
Yeah. Yep.
Honestly, I thought I'd seen everything in baseball. I had never seen that before, and it's actually pretty funny.
Was it Sixto? Was it Sixto that did that?
I don't know who did it, but it was just it's so funny because, again, that's human mistakes, human errors, and that's why we do what we do. We're able to come back the next day and talk about that.
Right.
Talk about Hunter Wendell's stat and throwing a manager out of a major league game because of something a fan said. What if there's no umpire now?
That's great. Yeah, I know.
There's no longer interaction between the fans. There's no interaction between the managers and the players. Why play at that point? Now you're basically sucking the life out of the sport.
Sucking the life out of it, literally.
And it's still not doing. Here was my biggest argument 20 years ago. I had it with Sandy Alderson and Rich Garcia when I went to an umpires symposium out in Arizona. And they missed over 10,000 calls a year.
Why aren't those
with
guys
the Quest
fired?
Tech? Well, no, it was the Quest Tech, and I said, they said that it was acceptable. I said not one missed call should be acceptable.
Wow.
So if you're saying 10,000 calls over all the thousands of calls during the season are acceptable, that was 20 years ago. There's still no foolproof AI to call balls and strikes. It can still be tricked. So until you can tell me there's a foolproof method, then I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Nothing but afternoon baseball today, except for the New York Yankees and the Oakland A's. That will bump us off at 6:25 with the pregame. That's a 7:05 first pitch. But we already have some finals as the Brewers beat the Pirates. The Red Sox lost 6-4 to the Guardians. Your Reds got blanked by the Phillies, and the Twins doubled up the White Sox 6-3.
Man, my Reds scratched out 3 whole hits today.
I like how baseball is getting out of the way here on a Thursday because draft night tonight.
Draft night's coming and no one's watching baseball.
Right, no one's watching baseball. You got playoffs in NBA, NHL. So I'd say high five to Major League Baseball making all these days a getaway day for all these teams.
All right, let's take a quick break, come back, and Ben and I will make some crazy draft day predictions.
Yeah, I got some.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have some fun in the next segment here. We are live from Clubhouse. They're getting ready for draft night, and so you want to get here early. There's some reserved tables that are next to us, and so you want to get in here and get your chance to be watching all this because it's awesome in here. The food is awesome in here, and there's all kinds of things to keep you during that 10-minute break. Will keep you absolutely entertained. So Rob Dibble, Ben Darnell, it's the Rob Dibble Show here from Clubhouse on Main in Glastonbury. We'll be right back.
Well, the afternoon